Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is All-Star Race Weekend here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina, as we are set for Winston All-Star Weekend. But first, we have to decide the final 5 drivers to make their way into the All-Star race. And with that, there'll be the event called the Winston Open is what we're going to have here today to kick things off. And this is all going to be combined into one video. So it'll be 40 laps for this race here today and decide who will make it into the All-Star race itself. And we got some pretty big names left out of this whole thing. And some of them actually were winners from last season. But the format is for the whole thing is the winners from the Daytona 500 on down to Richmond, plus the season champions from previous seasons in the Castrol GTX Cup Series, and the top 5 from this very race. Simple enough. So the idea, of course, is to keep from having a very big field for the All-Star race itself, because we had fields of almost 25, 30 cars in previous seasons because the series has been so wide open. But nonetheless, we are about to have the Winston All-Star race here today, and here's the starting line for today's running of the Winston Open. On the pole at 184 miles an hour, it is Seth Cole in car 52, the Folgers Chevrolet. He'll be flanked by Kev Shearer in car 71, the Buckstove Oldsmobile. He's on the outside. Going to row 2, it's the number 3 Wrangler Chevrolet, the 1987 Monte Carlo of Cole Deaver. He's on the inside. You'll see him running this car at the Winston. Beside him will be Keith Batson in car 28, Texaco Haviland Ford. He's on the outside. Batson, by the way, one of our drivers with the in-car camera in today's event here for the Winston Open. Third row will have Dylan Young in car 2, the Pepsi Chevrolet, and beside him will be Zach Winkle, car number 11, the Budweiser Chevrolet. He's on the outside. Next row down has Joshua Collard in car 43, the STP Pontiac, the King Richard Petty colors. He'll be flanked by car 33, Zachary Fitzwater, the Skull Bandit Buick. Came so close to getting his way to the All-Star race at Talladega, but came just about a couple of feet short. Next row down has Alexander Rowe in car 51. He also is almost into the All-Star race by winning at California, or almost won California, I should say. He's in a Valvoline Oldsmobile car 51. Beside him would be Phil Parker in car number 5, the lead by Garrett Chevrolet. He would love to make it into the All-Star race himself as well. Next row down has car 4, William Brock in the Kodak Phil Oldsmobile. He's been on a tear of light. He'll be alongside car 75, Max Anderson, the Valvoline Pontiac. Next row down has Michael Whitman in the Strolight Ford, car number 6, and he'll be alongside the CTE Ford of Jesse Turner. His best finish this season was a second at Bristol. Next row down has Quentin Moore in car 26, the Quaker State Buick. His best finish was at North Wilkesboro this season, a 7th, and he'll be alongside Ashland Boyd in car 55, this Copenhagen Chevrolet. Next row down has the Superior Piping Nelson Contracting Chevrolet car 74. Get all that out of one breath. It's Chelsea Bowles, and she'll be alongside car number 88, Jonathan Zorlanda, Gatorade Buick. Next row down has Paul Minnick in car 44, the Piedmont Airlines Chevrolet. And beside him will be car number 8, Patrick Smith, the Miller American Buick. Next row down has Joshua Sakuli in cars number 47, the Race Hill Farms Buick. And beside him will be Ryan Winters in car number 90, the Red Baron Frozen Pizza Ford. Then it's Tony Newman in car number 14, the Copenhagen Oldsmobile. And flanking him outside would be a 1987 Ford, driven for this race and a 600 as well. It'll be Jason Haywood behind the wheel. He's in a Motorcraft Quality Parts Ford. Next row down has Kyle Langland in the car 27, the Kodiak Pontiac. Had a great run the last stop race prior to this at Richmond. And he'll be alongside Ryan Kazee, car 12, the Budweiser Chevrolet. And starting shotgun in the field will be Jordan Lopez in car 16, the Halpern Chevrolet. He'll have the last place starting spot here in today's event. So here we go. We're getting set for green flag racing here. And so first to get the command to start the engines here for the Winston Open at Charlotte.
Drivers, start your engines!
Commands given the fire engine. So we're going to have a racing here today. The pole speed is set at 184 miles an hour for the All-Star rate, for All-Star Open, I should say. as we said, the top 5 finishers of this race here will advance into the Winston Open, or will advance into the Winston Ultra race. I should say, excuse me. On this one, as we got some pretty big names: Seth Cole, Kev Shearer, Keith Batson, Cole Deaver, Dylan Young, Fitzwater, Joshua Collard in this race as well. Phil Parker, one of the top name rookies in this field, he's in this race here, as is Jesse Turner, who won last season at Watkins Glen. Quentin Moore, Jonathan Zorlin, Paul Minnick, a lot of big names here, so you can bet this is going to be a pretty competitive race here as the field comes off the second turn. In-car cameras for today's Winston Open will be Keith Batson. We mentioned he's one of them. Also, Seth Cole and Dylan Young will have the in-car cameras in today's event as well. And in case you haven't seen already, this is the 1992 version of Charlotte we're using. The same version where one hot night happened. And that finished with Davey Allison and Kyle Petty, of course. And, of course, we might want to throw Earnhardt in there, except he got spun going into the third turn on the last lap. Anyway, pace car took us off to number 4. The top 5 drivers that are left to be decided for the Winston All-Star race will be decided right now. The green flag is out, and we're underway in the Winston Open. And it's Seth Cole jumping out in front here as they go from turn number 1. Cole Deaver to second position. In the third goes Dylan Young. Fourth position is Kev Shearer. Battle for fifth between Keith Batson and Joshua Collard as they come off the turn number 2. Batson and Shearer up to the high side is now Zachary Fitzwater goes inside, looking for position as well. And here comes Dylan Young to the inside of Cole Deaver as the lead being held by Seth Cole as he leads the first lap at over 169 miles per hour. They'll be turning laps here at over 185 miles an hour in the draft here, and for most of this race, they come off the second turn. Chevrolet have the top 3 spots at this moment here. Here comes Cole Deaver to the inside of Dylan Young, and he'll take position away. Here comes Collard looking pretty strong here in the King Richard Petty colors. He goes underneath Kev Shearer, takes position away, and now he goes underneath his buddy Dylan Young. As Keith Batson dropping back in the 88 and a 28 machine. Let's remember, Batson had Bristol won basically until he tried to avoid the wreckage that happened in front of him and then slowed down as he is on the high side of the racetrack. It's now Paul Minnick is inside. You're on board with Batson right now in the 28 Texaco Haviland Ford. "40 laps of distance here today, and this is not the distance we're going to be having for the 600. This coming in the next race, next points paying race on the tour, and 3 wide there. Chelsea Bowles dives underneath both Zachary Fitzwater and the 26 car of Quentin Moore as they come up the second turn now. Batson now caught in the middle of the racetrack as Bennett goes inside, and Batson does get by Fitzwater, but he's having trouble shaking off the 44 of Paul Minnick. Meantime, Kev Shearer has inside now late on these 11 car of Zach Winkle. And here comes the 51 Alexander Rowe in that 51 machine. He almost won the last points. He almost won a couple races ago at California Speedway, only to get passed with 2 laps to go by Cat Tellier. As it goes down through the third and fourth turns now, as he now dives inside of Dylan Young. Joshua Collard has third at the moment, but the front 2 of Seth Cole and Cole Deaver have drove away from this field here as Deaver, the last up of 188 miles there, same with Seth Cole. So those two are looking pretty strong. Cole at 187.7. And look at Kev Shearer flying at 71 machine. He'd like to get his way into the All-Star race as well himself. Salvaging what otherwise has been a pretty marginal season for Kev Shearer so far in the first 12 of the season. And here comes Cole Deaver for the lead on Seth Cole. Sorry, we missed that battle right there, but Cole does take that Wrangler GM Goodrich Chevy to the inside lane. Just remember, it's the same. Remember that car Cole's driving is an '87 Monte Carlo, the same scheme where the infamous pass in the grass happened. And ironically enough, Jessica Shelton's driving an '87 Ford. Well, when we get to the All-Star race here coming up after this one. Interesting what will happen if those two get together. Anyway, Seth Cole takes position back as Cole Deaver led the lap. And here comes Shearer now taking third position away as Alexander Rowe drops to fourth. Fifth now is Zach Winkle. Here comes Quentin Moore for sixth, and he's got in the 26 machine. He's got Chelsea Bowles inside, and Zorland's in there. And now Dylan Young and Keith Batson trying to make their way up to the field now. Young in the 2, Batson in the 28. On board Dylan Young's car, he runs in 10th position. And look at how fast they're going, 194 miles an hour to turn number 3. As we said, the night time is the right time at Charlotte, and these guys are proving it. Last lap of Dylan Young, 188.5 miles an hour. And in fact, Keith Batson is the fastest lap of the race there, 189.2 miles per hour. Young in 8th, Batson in 9th. Up ahead, Chelsea Bowles in 7th, Quentin Moore in 6th, and Zach Winkle in 5th. Actually make that 4th, 5th, and 6th as now Dylan Young and Batson goes inside. Meantime, the front three of Cole Deaver, Seth Cole, and Kev Shearer have all broken away. That's the top 3, and top 3 does get you into the All-Star race, so as a matter of fact. But now Dylan Young gets shoved to the track by Keith Batson. Batson goes inside. He'll take the, I think, 7th position, or is that 6th position? That's 6th position for Batson. He'll take that away. So all he needs to do is get by Quentin Moore, and he'll be in the transfer spot. He and Dylan Young both tested here earlier on before this race, and their cars were very fast. So looking pretty strong here today. But now Dylan Young decides to go inside of Batson. Batson probably saying, really, I've just got caught up on the high side again earlier on. But look at the power of that Ford to the outside of the racetrack. You do not see that on the outside. And powers past Quentin Moore in the Buick. And now Batson will take 5th position away. And now has his sights set on the 11 of Zach Winkle. And meantime, Seth Cole takes the lead now in the Winston Open as we're now 12 in the books, 13 in the books this time by. But still a lot of races to go. 27 laps remain here in the Winston Open. It's Cole, Shearer, Deaver. Shearer to the inside again. Here comes Kev Shearer, 71, the Dave Marcus Oldsmobile. That's an 81 model, I believe he's driving as they come off turn number 2 here. And Kev Shearer will take the lead. Let's remember, Kev Shearer swept the Charlotte races a couple of seasons back. And now Batson's charge continues. He's at the 4th position now as now in Dylan Young taking the 5th spot now. Zach Winkle to 6th, and now here comes Joshua Sakuli looking pretty strong here in a 47 Buick. And he'll take position away from Jonathan Zorn and Michael Whitman behind him. Quentin Moore. Quentin Moore was up to about 5th position. The last time I heard we talked about him, he's now dropped back to about 9th. And 03 wide, Alexander Rowe to the inside, Moore in the middle, Zorlan on the outside of the US position as they come off turn number 2. Rowe's got it. And here comes another Buick, that is Patrick Smith in the 8, Chelsea Bowles in the 74, Tony Newman in 14, and Joshua Collard, the only British driver in the field. He's in the 43 car. Runs in the now 15th, 14th position now in 3 wide again. Jesse Turner, another big name. He's not quite had any headway made as well himself in the number 13 Ford. Fitzwater back there, Paul Minnick, there's Zorlan, Max Anderson, Phil Parker in the 5 car. Several cars way back in the back here. Jason Haywood in that number 15 Motorcraft. machine. He's had some solid runs so far this season, though, and he's driving an 87 Ford. He'll be driving this pace. He'll be driving this scheme, by the way, at the 600 as well. Kyle Langland so far now taking the last position as now the top 5 right there together. Kev Shearer still has the lead. In the second is now Cole Deaver. Here comes Batson for the 3rd position now on Seth Cole. On board Seth Cole's car now. Seth Cole sniffing the draft off the Cole Deaver machine. And he'll keep 3rd position now from Batson for the moment. Off turn number 4, let's see how fast Seth goes into turn number 1. 184 miles an hour. 85, 7, 8, 189, 90, 191 miles an hour. I saw 192 blink. 192 miles an hour into turn number 1. Goes Seth Cole, and now he'll charge inside of Kev Shearer. And it's now got a beat on the 3 of Cole Deaver. That would be the top 5 of this race we're to end right now, but Zach Winkle trying to get a pack going to try to catch the front 5 cars now, but they're losing time, strangely enough, as the top 5 cars have been very solid. As we said, though, some of them actually tested before this race started here, and their cars look pretty strong. Darn pace car. So just past halfway home in the Winston Open, it's now Deaver, Cole, Dylan Young, Shearer, and Batson, the top 5. 6th position right now is Zach Winkle. 7th position going right now to Chelsea Bowles. 8th is Tony Newman. Here comes Quentin Moore for the 9th position on Michael Whitman. He's going to get the push from the 43 of Joshua Collard. And here comes Collard sticking the nose of that Pontiac to the inside of Quentin Moore's Buick. Off the second turn now, Jesse Turner. As we said, his best finish this season was a 2nd at Bristol, Tennessee, to Jessica Shelton in the Food City 500. And Turner dives inside of Zach Winkle. That's for the 10th position as Winkle had it now. Jesse Turner has it now. Paul Minnick behind him in the 44 machine. And Chelsea Bowles way up high, and Jesse Turner will dive underneath both her and Joshua Collard. And Turner now making his presence felt right now as he now moves into 8th position. Tony Newman is in 6th position with Quentin Moore in 7th. Meantime, the front 5 cars have pulled away substantially from the rest of the pack here, so it may be those 5 unless something goes wrong with one of them. That will be an open. That will be an alternate itself. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're down now to. It'll be down to 13 to go as we're on board Keith Batson's car in 4th position. Up ahead is Dylan Young in 3rd. And let's look from Dylan Young's machine. He's one of our 3 in-car cameras in today's in the Open. And he'll decide to help Dylan Young, and he'll decide to help Kev Shearer, in the 71 machine. Positions being exchanged within the top 5 positions here. The top 5 does get you in the All-Star race there, but of course you want to have bragging rights to win this race as well. So these guys really mixing it up here. Jesse Turner now moving to 6th position now in the 13 machine. Seems like this pack, of course, from 6 on down is having trouble mustering enough speed to try to catch up in the top 5 cars. Zachary Fitzwater up to the field right there in the 33 machine. There's Kyle Langland, 27, the Kodiak Pontiac. Had a great run, as we said, the last race on the tour at Richmond International Raceway. He came in, he got his first top 10 of the season. And one of the guys favored to win Rookie of the Year, along with guys like Phil Parker. And right now, as of right now, Ryan Winters, who's in the 90 car, he's right there in the back of the pack. There he is. And John Zorla and Jason Haywood both in the back of the pack, as we're now down to 10 to go, 9 to go now. As Kev Shearer trying to hold the challenge off of Dylan Young. But Dylan Young goes inside in the Pepsi Kroger Chevy. And he'll take position away. Seth Cole trying for the 2nd position now on Shearer, is now Young looking strong right now. On board Dylan Young's machine. Eight laps to go. But Kev Shearer not giving up in that number 71 machine. Fastest lap of the race so far being held by William Brock at 189.2 miles per hour. Young up on the high side. Here comes Cole Deaver for 2nd position. Batson's going to try for 3rd now. Five drivers from 5 different states. 5 drivers hailing from 5 different states here. Kev Shearer from Pennsylvania. Cole Deaver, the pride of Georgia. Dylan Young from the state of Florida. Batson from way up in the state of Maine. And Seth Cole not far from Batson in the state of New York. So we got 3 from up north and 2 from the south here on this pack of cars. As now Cole Deaver takes the Wrangler Chevy to the number 1 spot. Now it's now 6 to go, 5.5 now. Off corner number 4 they come. Cole Deaver, car 3, the Wrangler Chevrolet. Out in front, Shearer to 2nd position. 3rd, trying for 3rd now is Keith Batson inside of Dylan Young. And Dylan Young, and those 3 drivers here, Young, Batson, and Seth Cole, had shots to pull it off at Bristol. First it looked like it was Batson, and then it would look like it was Young, and then Seth Cole thought he might have shot at on Shelton in the last lap until he got caught up in a melee himself in the final lap of the race with Becca Tellier. And that in turn let Shelton win the race. And so, as they come off through the 1st and 2nd turns now, here comes Kev Shearer. Car 71 to the inside lane on Cole Deaver. That's for the lead. Batson trying for 3rd, and he'll try for 2nd now on Cole Deaver. Keith Batson now unleashing the horsepower of that Ford. So you got 3 Chevys, a Ford, and an Oldsmobile in the top 5 spots here. And like I said, if nothing changes, this will be your top 5 in the All-Stars itself, because that front 5 is pulled off to such a lead now. On 6th place, Jordan Lopez. 7th right now is the 12 of... Excuse me. 7th right now is the 12 of Ryan Kazee. Kyle Langland in 8th. Joshua Sekuli 9th. And Zachary Fitzwater running in 10th as we have now 2 laps to go. On board with Keith Batson. Does he have anything on Kev Shearer? It'll be the white flag this time by. Who will win the Winston Open here at Charlotte? Batson's got the draft off Dylan Young. The white flag will be waving. One to go. Batson took a pick to the inside. Here comes Batson. Batson to the inside lane on Kev Shearer for the number 1 spot. Here, and Dylan Young's going to push him. And it's Keith Batson to the lead. Dylan Young going to try for second position. Now what's Dylan Young going to do? Young sneaks a peek to the inside lane. Here comes Dylan Young for the lead. Batson throws the ball. They come through the 4 turns now. The top 5 is what gets you in the All-Star race here. This will be your top 5, but Keith Batson's going to win the Winston Open here at Charlotte. So the top 5 that'll transfer in is Keith Batson, Dylan Young, Seth Cole, Kev Shearer, and Cole Deaver. That's going to be your top 5 that's going to make their way in. But what a drive by Keith Batson in these last couple of laps. Waited for at just the right time to take position on Kev Shearer, and pulls it off to perfection. So Keith Batson, the number 26 Go Haviland Ford, the 1987 Davey Allison colors, will take the win here today. As this will be a top 5 here. We gave you that already. Average speed almost 186 miles an hour, 185.9 to be exact. Those 6 on down, unfortunately, they'll have to wait till the 600 at Charlotte. Ryan Gazee, Zachary Fitzwater, Jesse Turner, Joshua Segula, and Jordan Lopez, the top 10. Then the rest of the order: Ryan Winters, Joshua Collard, Kyle Langland, Quentin Moore, Alexander Rowe, Jonathan Zorn, Tony Newman, Patrick Smith, Chelsea Bowles, Max Anderson. That's the top 20. Then 21st down is Phil Parker, Ashland Boyd, Zach Winkle, Paul Minnick, Michael Whitman, Jason Haywood, and William Brock. So the top 5 has been set for the Winston All-Star race at Charlotte. So the top 5 cars have been decided for the Winston All-Star race at Charlotte, and one here today by Keith Batson as he takes home the title in the Winston Open. But can one of those 5 win the All-Stars? Well, we're about to find out. The All-Star race is coming up next. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is finally here. It's the Winston All-Star race at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Charlotte, North Carolina. And we are set for 60 laps of action here today. We have this is a new format we're going to be doing here for this All-Star race. It's going to be a 40-lap segment in the first segment, and the second segment will be 20 laps, believe it or not. So this is the first time we're going to try this here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And it should be a great race here on this 1.5-mile racetrack here, as 18 cars get set for racing here. And this format in this field is made up of former series champions, race winners dating back to the Daytona 500 this time. The previous years we've been going back to the 600, but the fields were enormously large, about almost a full field for the race itself. And also the top 5 from the Winston Open. So this is going to be a good race here today, as we said before. This is truly an all-star field here in NNSCRA Castrol GTX Cup Series competition. So with all that said, let's get the racing here on this 1.5-mile racetrack. And here it is, the starting lineup for today's running of the event. On the pole, in the number 1 Bullseye Barbecue Sauce Chevrolet. He got here by the fact he's the defending series champion. He's Trent Dunham, car number 1, the Bullseye Barbecue Sauce Chevrolet. He starts on the pole, and we line him up by car number, by the way, to make it less complicated. Starting outside of the front row, he made it in by the fact he won. He finished in the top 5. In the Winston Open, it's Dylan Young, the number 2, the Pepsi Chevrolet. Second row has Cole Deaver. He also got him by the fact he's the top 5 finisher in the Winston Open. The number 3 Wrangler Chevrolet, driving the 1987 Dale Earnhardt colors. He'll be alongside Kat Tellier, car number 7, the Xerox Antifreeze Ford. She's on the outside. She got here by winning at California Speedway this season. The third row has Jessica Shelton, car number 9, the Coors Melling Ford, a 1987 Thunderbird herself. She's in this race by the fact she is a 3-time series champion. She also won twice this season at Bristol and Texas, as well as a win at Richmond. She's a 3-time winner actually this season. Flanking her outside, the winner at this season at Rockingham. That's how he got in. It's Ryan George, number 17, the Tide Chevrolet. The 4th row has the Warner Hodgson Ford, number 21, Becca Tellier. She came in here by the fact she is a winner at Darlington this season. And she'll be alongside one number up, number 22, the Miller High Life Buick of Dylan Poteet. He's in this race by the fact he's a Season 1 champion. The 5th row has Joshua Osborne, number 25, the Folgers Chevrolet. He got into this race by the fact he is a winner this season at Martinsville, but he's also a 2-time champion, winning the championships in seasons 2 and 16, excuse me. And alongside of him, the winner of the Winston Open, it's Keith Batson, number 20 of the Texaco Haviland Ford. In the 6th row has Kyle Matthews. He got into this race by winning at North Wilkesboro this season, the Hardy Oldsmobile car number 29. And 2-time winner this season, Charles Sanford, number 30 of the Country Time Pontiac. He got in this race by, well, not only winning at Las Vegas and Atlanta, but he's also the season 15 champion of this series as well. Going into the 7th row has car number 35, Johnny Gardner. He's the season 8 champion of the series, the Folgers Decaf Chevrolet car 35. And winner at Talladega this season, it's Mike Becker, car 42, the STP Buick. He's on the outside. He won that thrower this season at Talladega. Another top 5 finisher in Winston Opens as the inside of the 8th row. It's Seth Cole in car 52, the Folgers Chevrolet. So all 3 of the Folgers cars in the field. And a 2-time series champion in seasons 9 and 13. It is Zed Weinstein. He is in the number 70 Rumpel Furniture AC Spark Plugs Pontiac. He has yet to win so far this season. And the last of the top 5 finishers that got into this race here is Kev Scherer, car 71, the Buckstove Oldsmobile. He'll be alongside the Daytona 500 champion. That's how he got in. It's Emmanuel Hartnett that wins Kmart Oldsmobile car number 83.
Drivers, start your engine!
Crazy way to get the race going, isn't it? So with all that said, the field is going to roll off for a pace lap, and before we get this race underway, 40 laps in the first segment and 20 for the second and last segment. This race, I was going to do a 3-segment race, but it would be a bit too much for the video, I think. But anyway, so Trent Dunham and Dylan Young has the front row. Neither driver has won a race so far this season, but as I said, Dunham, the defending series champion, by doing it, and he almost did it without winning a single race last season. That's pretty impressive. Would have been pretty impressive, but then it would have been pretty suspicious too, somewhat in the NR world. But he did get a win at Homestead last season, so. And Dylan Young is on the outside. He finished in the top 5 in the Winston Open. That's how he got in. All these cars maxed out to 100. So. As we said, nighttime is the right time. It's the only race you'll be seeing that happening. The only races we'll be doing equal ratings, of course, will be on the plate tracks at Daytona and Talladega as well. So the field getting set for green flag racing here as they'll come off corner number 4. The pace car ducks off on the pit road. Field being led in the hands of Trent Dunham as the green flag waves and the Winston All-Star race is on. In-car cameras in this race will be carried by Kev Scherer, Keith Batson, and Kyle Matthews. Here comes Cole Deaver in the inside lanes to come off corner number 4 here. And does this look familiar to you in the All-Star race, doesn't it? The 3 and the 9 battling it out here. Shelton goes inside now with Dunham for the 2nd position, and she's got it. And just like it was in 1987, the number 3 and number 9 cars, 1st and 2nd. Becca Taylor now goes inside of Shelton for position now as they go up into the first and second turns now. Osborne goes to the fourth position. Kyle Matthews running along in fifth spot. And you're on board with Kyle Matthews, number 29. Up in the high side of the three-wide sandwich here between he and his buddies Seth Cole and Trent Dunham. As now Johnny Gardner goes in the fifth position now. Dunham and Cole battling it out for the sixth spot as Seth Cole has it. And here comes Mike Becker and Emmanuel Hartnett hooking up to the inside lane. And they'll bring Charles Samper with him in number 30 as they come off the fourth corner. And now Becca Taylor will take the number 1 spot in car number 21. But here comes Osborne to the inside lane in car number 25. All right. And Chevrolet on the inside, Ford on the outside here. A pair of shoebox-looking cars, I guess you might say. Osborne driving the car with the gold 25 on it here, and that's gonna be the only rest of the owners. He'll be driving that scheme, the gold 25 and the gold wheels on it too. But anyway, he does lead the lap here. Gardner now goes to the second position. The Folgers cars first, second, and third at the moment here. Seth Cole in the third position now. In the fourth goes Mike Becker. Trying for fifth position trying for fifth is now Dunham inside of both Charles Samper and Becca Taylor. As now Ryan George goes inside in car 17. And three wide racing there in the back here. Poteet, Cole Deaver, and Becca Taylor. Now Zed Weinstein gets in the mix now with Keith Batson behind in 28. Becca Taylor, Kat Taylor, and Keith Batson, 3 of the cars out of the KAB Enterprises stable. That's Keith Batson and his legion of Fords as they come out through the third and fourth turns now. As Kat now follows Shelton. Remember, those two finished first and second at California this season with Kat Taylor on top. Cab Shear making move his way to the inside lane here as outside pole sitter Dylan Young has fallen back a little bit here. And so it's third place starter Cole Deaver in the number 3 car as he and Kyle Matthews is now in the back of the pack here. But there's the 18 car field separated by just a little over a second and a half. But meanwhile, it's Mike Becker out in front, and last place starter, Emmanuel Hartnett, now goes into the second position now. Weinstein the third, and Charles Samper up to the fourth position now. It's now Keith Batson goes inside of Ryan George. Nope, here comes the 7th car of Kat Taylor. And 3 wide, 2 rows deep here as they go to the third first, as they go into turn number 1 again. That's Dylan Young and Cole Deaver moving inside of both Trent Dunham and Johnny Gardner. Down the back stretch they go here. Deaver, or I should say Young, goes inside of Batson. That's for, I'm trying to think of what's that, as for about 6th or 7th position. That would be for 8th, actually, as Kev Shear came across the line in 7th position as he's now hooked on the back of Joshua Osborne's car. Riding on board with Kev Shear, car number 71. Shear in the 71, that's an Oldsmobile versus Ford battle. As now Dylan Young goes inside now of the Taylor machine as he'll take position now. Becker doing a good job holding on to that lead right now as he's pulled out to a little bit of a lead here. But Emmanuel Hartnett in the 83 trying to close up on that front car. And now Osborne goes into third position now. He comes inside of Weinstein. And now Scherer still hooks up back to the 25 car as he's bringing Keith Batson and Kyle Matthews with him. And whoa, look at that power move by the 29 car. Matthews got both Young and Weinstein in the same corner as they through the first and second turns here, and so Matthews moving his way back up to the field. He is now up to the 6th position. Batson now going to the high side now. So is Osborne, and now Hartnett now closes up on the back bumper of the 42 car. These two drivers won the first two the plate races this season here. Emmanuel Hartnett took the Daytona 500, and Mike Becker took that thriller at Talladega where he held off Zachary Fitzwater for the win. I should say past Fitzwater for the win in the final few thousand feet to the line. Or in this case, final few hundred feet, I should say. Now here comes Scheer to the inside of Hartnett. Hartnett throws the block now. He'll squeeze in between Matthews and Hartnett. Now 3 Oldsmobiles hooked together right there. 83, 71, and 29. And here comes Hartnett for the lead in car 83. And he'll bring Kyle Matthews with him in the 29 machine. As now Osborne will go to the inside of Lane, and he'll decide to hook up with the 83 and 29 both. Weinstein gets into the party now in the 70 car, and don't look now, but here comes that number 9, Jessica Shelton, as she begins to make a go of it. And Osborne pushes Matthews to the lead. 17 laps in the books here. They're averaging 187.6 miles per hour. Very fast around this racetrack. We've had laps at over 190 miles per hour here at Charlotte. So Kyle Matthews now jumps to the number 1 spot. Second position will be Osborne. Nope. Here comes Osborne for the lead. And he'll bring Zed Weinstein with him here. Osborne out of Kentucky, Weinstein from Arizona, and Matthews out of the state of Ohio. And Matthews actually will squeeze in between Osborne and Weinstein. Shelton now goes in the 4th position now, or actually was in 4th position. Now as Mike Becker goes inside, that F42 car looks pretty strong. Maybe one of the cars to deal with in the final 20-lap segment when we get to it. And in fact, we'll be 20 laps into the books now. Usually this would be the final lap of the race, but since we're going to do a second segment here, it's going to be just the beginning of it. So now Weinstein goes to the number 1 position here. Matthews is 2nd. 3rd is now the 42 of Becker. Cat Taylor up to the 4th position now. And here comes 83 Emmanuel Hartnett. He'll take 5th. Johnny Gardner going to 6th position. 7th now is Charles Sanford. As he and Seth Cole having their own battle. Osborne slipping back in the 29 and 25 car. Apparently taking a slight bit easy. And look at that. A train forming up back there on the inside lane. As now Matthews will take the number 1 spot again with Kat Taylor now going to 2nd position in the number 7 car. That's the Alan Quickie color she's driving, a 1988 Ford. Sandwiched in between a pair of 87 Oldsmobiles. And here comes Johnny Gardner, 35 to the inside lane. What racing we are seeing here in this first 22 laps of this Winston All-Star race, segment number 1. As they come off the second turn now, Seth Cole goes inside looking for the lead. Or not looking for the lead. He's on the outside actually here. Brian George will go inside with Cole Deaver hooking up to the back of him. Then I got the 17 and the 3 now, along with the 30 of Sanford, the 2 of Dylan Young. And Sanford makes it 3 wide, and so too does Dylan Young. As Seth Cole has to back off the throttle just a little bit now as they come off the second corner now, and now Dylan Young will try to make some headway to the inside. Nope, here comes Trent Dunham. He'll try to spoil that for him. No, he won't. Young says, over my dead body, he'll take the inside lane, and he'll keep position. Meantime, Kyle Matthews still leads the race here, and here comes 2 of the KAB cars, the 21 and 28. 6 years apart, these Fords are here. Beccatelli's car in 1981 Ford, and Batson's car in 1987 Ford. On board the Batson's car, there's 15 laps to go in the first segment. Caution free so far, averaging 187.5 miles per hour. And he'll rack up to the back of his teammate, Beccatellier, in 21. Sheer to the high side lane. Batson will dive underneath him. Look at that tachometer. Look at that tachometer right there. That how they got the engine set up for Charlotte. And up to about maybe 8,700 in turn number 1, and down to about no lower than about 79 looks like. Let's see, in turn number 1, about 8,750 in the turn number 3, excuse me. And look at that tachometer. He's down about no lower than about 8,100 or so. Now Batsy goes in turn 1, 189, 190, 91, 192 miles per hour. Lost on 193 blank. That last time by for Batson is lap speed 188.16 miles per hour, but he's now stuck in the middle between Cat Tellier and Dylan Poteet. And now Weinstein makes it 3 wide inside. Osborne will do the same thing in the 25, and he'll zip by Batson. And meantime, Cole Deaver goes to the lead in car number 3, the Wrangler GM Goodwrench Chevy. Charles Sandberg goes to second position. Third now is Seth Cole. Fourth position is Johnny Gardner. And here comes Beccatellier inside of Kyle Matthews. That's for the 5th spot. And one of the cars actually about to lose the draft here. That would be the 9 of Shelton. Looks like. Jessica Shelton having a hard time keeping up with the draft here at Charlotte, and hoping to get a sniff of it off Dylan Young, but apparently to no avail. There's something wrong with that number 9 machine. So anyway, down to 10 laps to go in segment number 1. And look at this battle for the lead. Here comes Cole Deaver and Seth Cole. A pair of Coles going at it. One has Cole as his first name, and the other has Cole as his last name. But Johnny Gardner will go to his Folgers teammate, and he'll shove Seth Cole to the lead. But Johnny says, "I want to go for the number 1 spot." Seth says no, and Johnny will fall back. So if everything goes according to plan here, they will be in the same order they finished in this race right here, and get ready for the second segment to start. They should be in the same order, hopefully. And if not, they may have pit stops there. Oh no, they're 4 wide. Don't do it, guys. Who? That was close. Mike Becker, a daring move for that number. Looks like for the 5th or 6th position. He was split between Becca Tellier, Cat Tellier, and Keith Batson, so he pretty much squeezed the KB cars out of the way. And that was fifth spot that Becker took. Meantime, Johnny Gardner begins to roll to the inside. He'll have Emmanuel Hartnett shoving him in the 83 machine. And now it's Gardner in the green Folgers car. He'll take the number one spot by a half a car length over Batson. And here comes Hartnett, Weinstein, and Becker. Now, like I said, that 42 car, keep an eye on that car there for the last segment. That car is very strong. Weinstein hooked up to the back bumper of Emmanuel Hartnett now. Coming down for 5 laps to go in segment number 1. Two-car hookup back there. There's Becker, Cat Tellier. Matthews now coming back up to the field here in the 29 car as he has his buddy Charles Samper behind him in number 30. Matthews that time by clocked in the 6th position. Dylan Young hooks up to the inside lane. Here comes back inside Keith Batson's car. And now from Kyle Matthews' point of view. 3 laps to go in segment number 1. Charles Samper to the inside lane, number 30. He'll get past. Matthews trying to squeeze in between Samper and the 17 of Ryan George. Two laps to go in segment number 1. Gardner has the lead. Here it comes. Becker to the inside of Weinstein. Cat Tellier trying the outside lane for that 3rd position, but here comes Sanford, number 30. And he'll bring Kyle Matthews with him as the white flag waves over segment number 1. As Johnny Gardner, the number 35 Folgers Decaf Chevrolet. A couple of former series champions here. He and Zed Weinstein back there. Becker to 3rd position. Going in the 4th now will be Sanford as they come off corner number 4. As segment number 1 will be in the books. Johnny Gardner will take the win in segment number 1 in the Folgers Chevrolet. Weinstein will go to 2nd. 3rd position will be Mike Becker. 4th go will go to Kyle Matthews or Charles Samper. Kyle Matthews will be 5th position. Then comes Ryan George, Joshua Osborne, Cat Tellier, Becca Tellier, and the one of Trent Dunham. So Johnny Gardner takes the win in segment number 1. As we'll be right back for segment number 2 when we come back here to finish the order for segment number 1. Batson will be 11th, 12th will be Hartnett. Then Deaver, Dylan Young, Kev Shear, Seth Cole, Jessica Shelton, and Dylan Poteet, the top 5. Or I should say the top. The field rundown, I should say, for segment number 1 here. So that will be it here, and that'll be it here for segment number 1. Segment number 2 coming up next. Back at Charlotte Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina for segment 2 of the second and final segment of the Winston All-Star Race at Charlotte, North Carolina. As we are down to 20 laps to go here for the segment. Johnny Gardner, who won the last segment, there were some pit stops that happened, I believe. So, yep, everybody, all fresh field, fresh rubber, everything else. And it's going to be no holes barred. I guess you might call it here no holes barred race, that's for sure. And Well, like I say, you paid your money, now take your choice. Here in this race here, Johnny Gardner leads. Second position is Zed Weinstein. Then it's Mike Becker, Charles Samper, and Kyle Matthews, the top 5. As the green flag waves and segment number 2 is on, who's going to win the Winston? We'll find out in 20 laps. Kyle Matthews to the inside lane, and look at that, he is already racy here as Mike Becker caught in the middle. Sanford to the high side here as they come out turn number 2. He's got Osborne behind him now as they go down the back stretch. Into the third turn now. Osborne and is in there. Tellier, Batson. Boy, Kyle Matthews from 5th to 2nd up on the very first lap. Gardner leads the first lap of segment number 2. And you can bet some of these drivers made adjustments because some of them weren't happy with their cars in that very first segment. Matthews looking for the lead. That 29 car, I don't know what they did to that 29 car, but that car is very fast, and he will take the lead. Kyle Matthews, a former winner in this All-Star race here. I think he won this race last season, I believe. In fact, I know he won this race last season, believe it or not. Becca Tellier in the second position now. Keith Batson looking at third position now. Car 28. Batson finished 11th in the very first segment. Looked up behind the 21. No, he'll go to the inside lane. He'll follow Matthews. Already seeing laps over 190 miles per hour in this second segment. As they say, the night time is the right time here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Becca Tellier to third position now. Going to fourth is Cole Deaver. Here comes battle for 5th. That is Kev Scheer and Zed Weinstein and Joshua Osborne. That's a battle for position here. As now Johnny Gardner, who won the very first segment, he's dropped back, but now he's starting to move up just a little bit. As Poteet now hooks up behind, and here they come back down the back stretch. Seth Cole trying to make his way into the field here. Cole Deaver up on the high side. Here comes Cat Tellier, Ryan George, Dylan Young in this mix of cars. And now Seth Cole up to the high side here as Tellier goes inside. Ryan George also. Shelton, Sanford up to the high side now. As Dylan Young stuck a peek to the inside lane, he will take position. Meantime, battle for the lead, looks like. And indeed it is. Becca Tellier takes number 1. In a second now goes Kev Scheer and Osborne to third position now. Scheer in the 71 machine. He loves this track at Charlotte. He's won here twice before. On board with Kev Scheer in car 71. Leading this pack of cars here in the first and second turns now. Osborne to second now. Here comes Becca Tellier back another time in a 21 car. And Batson to the high side now. Here comes Weinstein to the inside lane. Gardner will go inside. He'll try to take position, but Matthews 3 wide in that 29 car. He and Gardner almost touch. And here comes Cat Tellier in number 7 machine. Dylan Young hooked up to this mix as well as he tries to make his way to the field. He'll zip by Tellier. He'll try to go inside of Johnny Gardner. But Gardner says, nope, that's my spot. So 2 of the oldest cars in the field, a pair of 1981 model machines here. Tellier in an 81 Ford and Scheer in an 81 Oldsmobile. Winston in the third position now, halfway through segment number 2. Kyle Matthews hooked up behind. He's on the move now in that 29 machine. Riding in fourth position now, Osborne the fifth. Riding with Kyle Matthews in car number 29. He'll dive to the inside lane on Becca, and he'll try to he's got Becca in his crosshairs now. Average speed after 11 laps, 187.13 miles per hour. Fastest lap on this car right here, Emmanuel Hartnett at 191 miles per hour. And he's moving his way through the field now. Hartnett, as we said, won the Daytona 500 this season, looking for another big race win. Oh, yes. Some great racing going on here at Charlotte Motor Speedway as they come out the fourth corner now. Several cars we expect to make a big charge, has not yet done so. And two of those names there, Dylan Poteet and Jessica Shelton, has not really made a move at all through this field here. And so something tells me those two cars, whatever they did in the very first segment, after the first segment, that has not done well as of this point, though. But there they come. They're trying to make the move to the inside lane now. Here comes Shelton. She's by Dunham. She's by Sanford. Barely, I should say, by Charles Sanford, I should say. And Dylan Poteet finished last in the first segment, though. He's trying to make some headway himself. But now Shelton's car again up to the high side now, and Dunham will go inside. Shelton cannot keep her car on the low side of the track, apparently for some inexplicable reason. And here comes Weinstein for second position, but here comes Becca Tellier, or Cat Taylor, I should say, in the 7 machine. I gotta get her and Becca screwed up here. 5 to go, 4 down, 4 laps to go when it comes to the stripe here for who's it going to be in the Winston All-Star race at Charlotte. Joshua Osborne has it at the moment. But Cat Tellier closing up in that 7 car. Here comes Batson for third. He's got it now with Matthews in fourth. Seth Cole for 5th position now in the 52 machine. And remember, 2 of those drivers made their way in by finishing top 5 in the Winston All-Star Open. That was Batson and Seth Cole. Here comes Cat Tellier to the inside. She'll move inside of Osborne for the number 1 spot. 3 laps to go, 2 to go when it comes to the stripe this time by. Batson took a peek to the inside of his teammate Becca Tellier, or Cat Tellier. And ooh, Osborne squeezed in between those 2 Fords. Shuffle is on. Here comes Weinstein for 4th, and he's got it. And meantime, Keith Batson, 3 wide for the lead. 3 wide for the number 1 position. Darn pace car. And it's now Batson versus Osborne side by side. For the win, white flag is out this time by, and don't count that 70 car out just yet. That's Zed Weinstein and the JD McDuffie cars. And here, where did Mike Becker come from in the 42 car? White flag is out. 1 more lap to go in the Winston. Keith Batson, who won the Winston All-Star Open at Charlotte, looking for his first ever Winston All-Star win. Weinstein, though, closing up in a 70 car. Does he have anything but a 28 machine? Here comes Mike Becker for second position. That's going to be all she wrote off corner number 4. And the Winston All-Star race for season 18 goes to Keith Batson. He's done it. Boy, the Winston All-Stars did not disappoint one bit, and Keith Batson, the 20th Texaco Haviland Ford, goes to victory lane. In the Winston All-Star Race for Season 18, the number 20 Texaco Haviland Ford was fast off the truck, and I tell you what, though, he may be a favorite for the 600 to win this is going too. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. But average speed 187,679. Keith Batson holds off Mike Becker. He holds off Zed Weinstein, who finishes in third position. Fourth will go to Johnny Gardner. Joshua Osborne comes home fifth. Sixth place will go to Seth Cole. Cat Tellier seventh. Eighth will go to Ryan George. Ninth, Dylan Poteet. He moved his way through the field after finishing last in segment number one. And 10th place will go to Cole Deaver. A tremendous Winston All-Star Race without question here. 11th place will go to Jessica Shelton. Then Trent Dunham 12th. Kyle Matthews, who was up there much of this race, he drops back to 13th. 14th will go to Kev Shear, Becca Tellier, Emmanuel Hartnett, Charles Sanford, and Dylan Young. The final finishing order in the Winston for season 18. What a finish that was there. Keith Batson, 28 Texaco Haviland Ford, didn't have much oomph under the hood in segment number one, but when the second segment came, whatever changes they made to that Texaco Haviland Ford worked to perfection as Batson was right there at the right time. 3 wide pass for the win with 2 laps to go, and he did it here today. As KE being impressive, looks like a pretty strong mile-and-a-half package here at Charlotte, but we'll see how it stacks up against the other 39 cars when we get to the Winston All-Star Race itself. Or when we get to the 600, I should say, at Charlotte here, which will be the next race on the tour. So until then, this is James Qualls. This has been production in the NNSCRA. And if you like what you see here, be sure to subscribe to the NNSCRA Sports and Gaming channel here. We got everything here in NNSCRA, in our races, gaming videos, anything that the president of the NNSCRA, Seth Cole, desires for this channel here. You name it, we got it. And it's all here in the Winston it's all here in the NNSCRA Sports and Gaming channel. So now this is James Qualls. This has been production in the NNSCRA offline racing at its best. Congratulations once again to Keith Batson, the winner of the Winston All-Star Race.
Greg, did you have any ignition problems?